was to bring the drugs in from Central and South America to the offshore oil platforms of Zapata Oil, from there to bring them into the United States by the normal crew conveyance and helicopters. Therefore, they would not have to undergo inspection by custom officials or law enforcement agencies of any kind. And it's been going on ever since. Today, the drugs do not enter this country by the little planes that they would have you believe on the 6 o'clock news, nor by the little boats that they say are speeding across the Caribbean. The Coast Guard, ladies and gentlemen, and the United States Navy are not inept. Every aircraft that approaches the borders of this country from any direction is monitored minute by minute by the North American Air Defense Command. The drugs, ladies and gentlemen, are brought into this country on CIA proprietary contract aircraft and military aircraft, and land on CIA facilities in the United States and on military air bases, and Homestead Air Force Base is one of those bases where those planes land. Recently, Colonel James Bogreitz, in the last few years, went to the Golden Triangle area to try to bring back American prisoners of war who we know are still being held. We've always known it. The government has known it. They have misused the Office of Prisoner of War Accountability to transact these drug deals. So they don't want the prisoners of war to come home. Well, we didn't know that until Bo Greitz went over there and talked to a gentleman by the name of General Kunsa, who is the drug overlord of the Golden Triangle. I've talked extensively with Colonel Greitz about this. I have all of his information. And coupled with mine, it paints a very bad picture. General Kunsa says that every year, government agents, high-level government agents, are purchasing 800 tons of pure heroin and shipping it into this country from him. He wants to stop it. He is willing to stop it. He wants us to give him a crop substitution program so that his people do not have to raise poppies and process heroin in order to survive. He wants to become a recognized, real nation rather than an illegal group of bandits living in the jungle. And George Bush and the United States government says there is no interest in doing that here. He's willing to stop 800 tons of pure heroin from coming into this country every year. And George Bush says, we're not interested in doing that here. Furthermore, we're not interested in hearing who these government officials are that he says he's selling these drugs to. Furthermore, Colonel Bogreitz, if you don't shut your mouth, we're going to lock you up in a federal prison and you're never going to get out. And they tried. You see, it was the United States government that sent Bogreitz to Southeast Asia to bring prisoners of war back. Colonel Bogreitz is the most decorated man to come out of Vietnam and one of the most decorated heroes that this country has ever had. They sent him in there because of that, and they gave him a lot of press. And every time he went in, they warned the enemy beforehand, usually by Radio Free America, in their own language, warned them by name who was coming, how they were coming, what route they were going to take, so that they would not be successful. But it made the administration look good because they were sending somebody over there to do it. But every time he went, he had to use a phony passport that the Department of Defense gave him to use to accomplish his mission. So I'm going to show you a short tape right now. I want you to pay a lot of attention to this, please.
We have the lights dim.
Yeah, it reflects right in the center. That one back there.
April 18th, 1989, what many Americans regard as the most important trial in the United States began with little fanfare in Las Vegas, Nevada federal court. Although it was well covered by the local media, in stark contrast to the Oliver North trial, the national print and broadcast media were conspicuously absent. Vegas to prevent any satellite uplink from reaching the rest of the nation. For nearly 2 years, Lieutenant Colonel James Bo Greitz had been under indictment for misuse of a passport. The charge had been leveled at Greitz as a result of a trip he made to Burma in 1986. U.S. government prosecutors have contended that Greitz lacked official sanction for his activities in Southeast Asia in pursuit of American POWs and missing in action. Greitz, one of the most highly decorated Green Beret commanders of the Vietnam era, has countered that he has been so charged in order to shut him up about his discovery in the Golden Triangle headquarters of General Kun Sa that high-level U.S. officials and intelligence operatives have been actively involved in massive drug smuggling for over 20 years.
And the finance support was controlled given by Richard Armitage, who federal who stayed in Vietnam at the time. And after the Vietnam War, Richard Armitage was a prominent narcotic personnel, prominent trafficker in Bangkok. Yeah, after the Vietnam War.
Countless attempts to place this evidence before Congress and the national media have been met with responses ranging from polite rebuffs to outright refusal. Repeatedly during the course of preparation for the trial, the 3 successive U.S. attorneys prosecuting the case stated that they would drop the charge if any evidence of official sanction for his travel had been presented. Although Greitz had offered testimony from several witnesses, including U.S. officials, verifying this, the judge attempted to exclude such testimony in preliminary hearings, even to the extent of issuing a gag order. To most knowledgeable observers of the case, it had become very clear by the start of the trial that this was indeed an official effort directed at the highest levels of the U.S. government to railroad Greitz.
We think that Bo Greitz is right, and that these charges against him are unjust. He's a great American hero.
The government says this case isn't about politics or foreign policy, but Greitz and his attorneys are trying to prove otherwise.
I'm glad to get some facts before the public. It's not me on trial here. It's the government and their drug smuggling, and it's the prisoner of war issue. And it's been me who's been wanting to get this thing over with.
During opening arguments, Greitz's attorney, Lamont Mills, told the jury he won't dispute the government's charges. Mills admits Greitz did use a false passport when he returned to the country in late 1986, but he says the real story is why he did it. Greitz maintains the government sent him to Southeast Asia on a mission to find POWs, but the White House and the Pentagon deny any involvement.
I wanted to go to trial because this story needs to be told. I felt through a jury trial, a public trial, that the plight of the prisoners of war might be focused upon, and government involvement in drug smuggling to promote covert operations that Congress will not approve of should be focused upon.
The U.S. attorney says the case is not about politics, but about the simple misuse of a passport.
Hey, look, I got better things to do than prosecute beer can commandos, I can promise you that.
What's your reaction to the government calling you a beer can commando?
Tonight. And I'm proud of the uniform of the United States. And anyone that say that, obviously, can't say the same.
Former Green Beret Bo Greitz has been acquitted on charges of using a phony passport. In federal court this morning, Judge Philip Crowe said he had no choice but to toss out the case. He says the government charged Greitz under the wrong statute.
Former Green Beret Bo Greitz is a free man tonight. The federal judge has thrown out a felony passport charge against him.
Federal Judge Phil Crowe dismissed the case against Greitz today, saying the government simply brought the wrong charge. Greitz says he's pleased with the judge's decision, but that he still has a story to tell about what's going on in Southeast Asia.
It's not over until the prisoners of war home. It's not over until Richard Armitage is investigated and this government drug business is exposed. sweet and sour. No one likes to win a victory because the enemy fouls out. We don't even get a chance to take the field. According to the judge, we made a mistake. We should have charged a different statute. They were trying to say the case that they got watched, all right? And we know it, and we got him on it. We won. Case is over. He's acquitted, not guilty.
Mills told reporters that there was a lot of interest in this case from high places, referring to Washington.
George Bush called the right. No, I'm saying George Bush called me up and told me to get progress. George Bush called me up and told me to right. No, I'm saying George Bush called me up and told me to get progress. George Bush called me up and told me to right. No, I'm saying George Bush called me up.
Such comments by a United States attorney following nearly 2 years of persecution of Lieutenant Colonel Bright and the expenditure of many thousands of taxpayers' dollars are alarming. If Maddox's statements are true, the implications are profoundly disturbing. As the Iran-Contra scandal continues to unravel, revealing President Bush as more than a willing participant in numerous illegal activities, his direct interference in this case would seem to be a distinct possibility. Such behavior by our chief executive and his legal representative in the state of Nevada compromises our judicial system and violates long-cherished standards of American jurisprudence.
The government apparently hasn't given up on trying to convict both Brights. A grand jury is now apparently looking at brand new charges. The government is still after Green Beret Colonel James Bo Brights. A federal grand jury has subpoenaed samples of Bright's handwriting. Yesterday, illegal use of passport charges were thrown out against Brights because the government filed the wrong charges. Today, word leaked out that the grand jury had taken up the Bright case again, and that the Bright's attorney, Lamont Mills, was hopping mad.
It is unethical, it is childish. If that's true, that breaches everything I know about the grand jury process. It shows someone who's embarrassed and humiliated because they did it wrong and their case was thrown out of court. If the man is guilty, let him come in with an indictment and let us go to trial and establish our case. But to release things to the press, when you just started an investigation, violates everything I know about the grand jury process in this country and the Constitution upon which it's founded, and I'm mad.
I wish I would have been able to present to the public exactly why they charged me. I was told that I would serve 15 years as a felon. I was promised aggravated charges and hostile witnesses if I did not agree to cover up what I found in Burma in 1986 and 1987. I'm going to be about finding prisoners of war. They won't prosecute me for that. They're certainly going to have the chance.
Have the lights, please.